Right. All right. Hello, everybody. Seeing people coming on in. Welcome to today's webinar. Good afternoon, good morning, maybe if it's still morning for some folks. Good evening. Very excited to be with you all today for our webinar conversations with youth, reflections on our mentoring journeys. We have a really amazing panel of young people today to share about their stories with mentoring. As folks are coming on in, feel free to drop in your name and where you're calling in from in the chat. Definitely want to get to know you all a little bit more. So again, if you're just coming in now, the chat box should be open for you to drop in your name and where you're calling in from, as we're giving folks another few moments to get settled. Awesome. I'm seeing Kim from Arizona, Jill from Utah. All right, here we go. Here we go. We got Kentucky representation, North Carolina, Canada. I love to see folks from Canada, California, Arizona. It's wow, every state's different so far. That's really cool. Thanks all for joining. For those who are just joining right now, welcome to this month's CMWS webinar, Conversations with Youth, Reflections on Our Mentoring Journeys. This is the first webinar of a three-part mini-series with the CMWS, where we'll be uplifting and listening and hearing young people tell their stories as it relates to mentoring. So thanks all for being here. We'll give another moment or so for more people to join in. But again, keep dropping your name and where you're calling in from in the chat. Already seeing coast to coast representation here, which I love to see. So thanks for being here. Awesome. Tennessee, Colorado, California, Mississippi. This is also a test for me to see if I know my abbreviations, my state abbreviations. Tennessee, Georgia. Awesome. Thank you all. I don't know if I've seen any Maryland people. That's where I am. I'm in Baltimore. Kansas, Indiana. So, all right. So just so we can get right to the conversation today, feel free to continue to use the chat throughout, but I'll jump right into our slides here. Again, if you're just joining in now, welcome. We're really excited to have you here today, and I'm really excited for this conversation. So kick it off with sharing a little bit about how you can engage with us. Our convening in July is in Baltimore. I love that, Cheryl. Awesome. St. Augustine, Florida. But okay, great. So these are two main ways that you can connect with us throughout the webinar. Continue to use the chat to introduce yourself, connect with one another, share any ideas, thoughts that you have in reaction to the questions that we present to the panelists. Again, also feel free to share resources. And then any questions that you have for our panelists, we'll have some time at the end for that. You can put those questions in the Q&A box, which is on that same toolbar, and also upvote any questions that you'd like to see answered. So as a reminder, this webinar is recorded and it'll also be sent out in a week with the slides, as well as any other materials or resources that come up throughout today's conversation. So today's webinar, this is what the structure of it will sort of look like. First, we'll do a little welcome. I don't think I introduced myself. My name is Jake Sullivan. I use he, him pronouns. I work with Mentor National as the training delivery manager. And one of the projects that I work on are these collaborative mentoring webinar series alongside a committee of Mentor affiliates and other partner organizations and consultants to develop these webinars. So really excited to be here with you all today. Next, we'll get into some overviews for the various organizations and programs that our panelists are involved in to sort of ground us all in the work that they're doing, so you know a little bit more about them before they get into the actual questions that we'll be talking about in our discussion. And then we'll have some time for the audience Q&A before kicking it off to any additional resources in closing. I do believe that I loaded a couple polls here just to, again, get to know you all a little bit more. So in a moment, yeah, perfect. You'll see a poll launch on your screen asking how many years have you been involved with mentoring? So the options are 0 to 4 years, 5 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 plus. Just wanted to get to know who's in the room with us a little bit and get a sense of that to see if it can maybe tailor some of our conversation. Awesome. Thanks all for answering that. I'll give you another 10 seconds or so to get your answers in. Perfect. All right. So I'll end that poll. Thank you for taking part in that and share results. So I believe the results should now show up on your screen as well. Looks like we have a pretty good split. We have about half of us are 0 to 4 years into our mentoring journeys. And then we have, again, a pretty even split between the 5, 10, 10, 20, and 20 plus years. So again, everybody's welcome here. All of your insights are valid and exciting. And so please continue to drop those in the chat. Stop sharing that. And then I have one other one. Again, since today's panelists will be young people, I kind of wanted to play on the idea of age and get us all to reflect a little bit on what age were you when you got involved in mentoring? So if that's as a mentee, if that's as a mentor, if it's a first job, think back a little bit and think to the age that you were when you first got involved. And then another 10 seconds or so, I'll share those results as well. Awesome. All right. Well, in that poll, thank you for doing that one as well and share the results. Again, a kind of cool even split here, especially amongst the first four categories. Some folks under 18, 18 to 24, 20, 25 to 50, that whole age range is all pretty similar. And then we have a few folks who joined the mentoring movement at 50 or above. So awesome. Great. Thanks for doing that. So that's it for the polls for now. But again, continue to let us know more about yourself and your experiences in the chat. And again, the idea for today's webinar and what we really want you to take away from today's webinar are some meaningful insights and experiences that will inform your work. We really want to, more so than anything, slow down and engage in some storytelling and uplift the young people who are on this panel's work, and then also uplift the different ways that they all came to mentoring. We've sort of structured our conversation today. First, what was your life looking like before you were involved in mentoring? Why did you get involved in mentoring? Those types of things. Then the next portion of the conversation will be around their experiences with mentoring. So what makes a good mentor? What advice do you have? How did your mentor or your program help you to grow? And then kind of afterwards / looking into the future, will you become a mentor? What were the impacts and things like that? So that's sort of the flow of today's conversation. But again, we'll have some time at the end for any questions that you all have, if you do want to add anything to that. Awesome. So I believe now it is time to start introducing our amazing panelists. So first we have Marshawn, who is a 12th grade student at GW Carver High School, where he is in the top 10% of his class. He's also part of the Youth Justice Action Council and a part of Project Stand, which is something that we'll learn about in just a few moments. And he also plans to enroll in Northeast Mississippi Community College. Next up, we have Nasir. Nasir is the co-founder and executive director of Bards and Scott Youth Law Camp. Again, we'll learn about what that is in a moment. He's also involved in research at the intersection of agriculture and climate change and has been a board member for various organizations. Up next, also, yeah, I see people throwing in some emojis and reactions. I love that. That's also a thing you can do. Please continue to do that throughout the whole webinar. Up next, we have Samuel, who is a freshman at Stanford University. He's the chair. I'm embarrassed to say that I had to look up how to pronounce this word. Emeritus of Maryland Youth. Emeritus. Thank you, Samuel. Chair Emeritus of Maryland Youth Advisory Council. And he's also currently working with Stanford's Office of Sustainability to provide student voice for their climate action plan. And last but not least, we have Trikeria, who is a senior at Raleigh Egypt High School, also a part of the Youth Justice Action Committee and Project Stand, and is hoping to affect change in her community in Memphis throughout, or I should say through activism and public speaking, and in the future is hoping to major in accounting in college. So with that, I'll actually kick it off to Dr. Terrell Clements, who's the senior manager of Project Stand, to share a little bit more about their program. Kick it over to you, Terrell. Oh, you're on mute.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Terrell Clements from Memphis, Tennessee. I humbly serve as the manager of Project Stand. I wish I could take a lot of credit for the hard work on the ground, but I definitely have to give that off to my amazing team. I've got 4 amazing advisors that work diligently with our young people. So just a little bit about Project Stand. We are a school-based mentoring program located in Memphis, Tennessee. So what's different about our program is that our mentors serve in a capacity that supports students inside of the school. So we're not a grassroots organization. We don't come in on the weekends or after school. We are in school with kids every single day. And so they have opportunity to be exposed to positive role models while they're pursuing their secondary education. You go next slide. So what is Project Stand? We are a school-based mentoring program, and we are grounded in 4 pillars. We work with uh, making successful relationships with students, their parents, the community members, if there's any bridge opportunities there. We work with our students with leadership. We want them to be leaders and stand-up citizens in our community. We work with community service, and we also work with our students to be self-advocates. And that's also looking at opportunities to speak to lawmakers and to speak to other legislative bodies to talk about what do youth need in the form of restorative practices if a youth has been justice involved, or how they can make their academic journey more successful. Okay, you go ahead. So we go by the model of Be Great, and you can see a couple of photos of our students. We really engage with them with college tours. We engage with them with entrepreneurial opportunities. We want our kids to graduate from high school and actually make the decision to go to college and to focus on a college and career readiness opportunity. So whether that's going to the military, a 4-year institution, pairing them up with jobs, we really operate from a no excuse place. And so we definitely want to make sure that we provide those experiences for students for them to make those positive choices. You go again. And so I will turn it over to my two Project Stand students. I do want to say that we have served over 1,000 students since 2017. We currently have 240 students enrolled, and so they're with us all school year and also during the summer.
So amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that overview. And so, yeah, just as a reminder, the reason why we're doing this is to give you a little bit of a background about the things that our panelists are involved in. So Marshawn and Trakiri are involved in Project Stand, and now we'll be kicking it off over to Nasir to share a little bit about his work with Barnes and Scott.
Yes, so good afternoon. My name's Nasir Scott. I'm a high school senior and I'll be a freshman in college in the fall. I'm the co-founder and executive director for Barnes and Scott Youth Law Camp. All right, ready for the next one? Yep. So the mission here at Barnes and Scott, we're really here to give students an immersive learning program dedicated to educating, uplifting students interested in law, politics, public policy, and civics. We really want to give them those set them up for those career interests. I know there's a lot of students in my school, they're interested in wanting to be a lawyer or they want to be a politician. I know there's not many programs out there for students to really engage in that for free. I know Georgetown and Princeton has some great programs for high school students, but they're in the thousands or you have to travel down there. So we're really here to give Maryland students an opportunity to engage in some career interests here in Maryland around the state. Yep. And here we have our first conference. We had it back January 15th. We had a conference. At Barnes and Scott, we believe law is important for everyone, especially young people. We also believe that you don't have to wait till you get to law school to start getting into law books or meeting with lawyers or doing internships, because it's important that you can start that now in high school so you can get on the pre-law track when you get to your undergrad. So we're really here to provide that pre-law track, meeting with politicians, civics, getting them in the community. Ready for the next one? Yeah. All right. And just a few accomplishments. We had, like I said, our first conference 8 months ago. We got a grant from the MD Youth Council, a $2,000 grant. We were featured on DC News Now, Black History Special. We were addressed by Governor Moore and all our conference guests. And we were recognized by the majority of delegates in Maryland and really had the support from them. So we're really trying to make sure all students have the opportunity, know that we're here. And we have a bunch of adults behind us and lawyers and politicians and local community members who are really here uplifting these young people every day, including myself. So, yeah.
I love that. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. We'll kick it over to, just one more last slide with some other photos. And now we'll kick it over to Samuel.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jake. My name is Samuel Desai. And I served last year as the chair of the Maryland Youth Advisory Council in Maryland. This year, I'm in school. I don't have really the capacity to serve in that position, given that I'm on the West Coast. But I'm really just honored to here today to represent the council. Next slide, please. So what exactly is the Maryland Youth Advisory Council? We're this coalition of 24 high school and college students from across the state of Maryland that serve to influence Maryland policy and increase youth voice within state politics. And so we've done many different things. So while we do testify in state policies, I went in person to testify on bills. We've meet with lawmakers all the time. We also are focused as well on the youth side engagement of it. We host town halls and forums across the state for young people to connect with their policymakers. We hosted a youth-led grant program every year now, where we give money to youth-led organizations such as Barnes and Scott Law Youth Camp that was previously mentioned. And then we also serve to assist state agencies in their approach to connect with young people. For example, one time we had the state agency on tobacco prevention come to our council meeting and ask us how we can best engage young people on a campaign to combat tobacco and alcohol use among young people. Next slide, please. And so I touched on this a little bit before, but we are directly within the Governor's Office of Crime Prevention and Youth Victim Services. Appointees are appointed by the governor and the Speaker of the House and the Senate, as well as local management boards to serve on the council for a 2-year term. And we really work to examine issues of importance to young people, whether that's school safety, whether that's climate change, whether that's education, access to equal education across the state. And we elevate youth perspectives. Next slide, please. Here are just some pictures of the work that we've done on the council. Top right is myself as well as other members of the council at our in-person advocacy day, where we hosted a press conference on the steps of the state capitol, advocating for House Bill 119, which promoted inclusive health education. At that event, we had lawmakers, state delegates, as well as LGBTQ plus organizations speak in favor, and this was entirely youth-led. Bottom right is myself and former legislative chair and now current chair Grace Minikowski with Delegate Joe Vogel, a state delegate who actually served on the council 10 years ago. And now he is in state politics and he's running for Congress. Top right, it's a photo of the group with someone from the Prince George's County Police Department who came to our meeting for support on how to establish a youth advisory council within their organization to better connect young people with police and create a culture of accountability within the county. And then the bottom right is myself presenting testimony on House Bill 347, which allowed the state's attorney general to sue fossil fuel companies for climate change. I think that's all I have. Thank you so much. I'm going to pass it right back to you, Jake.
Awesome. Thank you. So even just with those small little tidbits, those little highlights, spotlights into everybody's work, you can see that we have a very impressive and engaged panel today. And so in that conversation, we'll be highlighting and discussing some of those things a little bit more. And we'll actually stop sharing my screen now so that we can jump right into the panel discussion. So as I said, we're going to kind of try to follow somewhat of a trajectory through mentoring journeys of our panelists. Again, we're all still involved in mentoring in a way, in various ways, but to kind of structure out the conversation, we'll start off, and I'll actually be directing this question first to Trakiri and Marshawn. Could you all share what initially motivated you to be involved in mentoring? What did Project Stand do to make you think like, I want to be a part of that? I want to get involved with that. So either one of you could feel free to go first.
Hey, what initially motivated me to join Project Stand was like at first I was inside the juvenile system. At first I was inside of there, and like I was doing good in there. And like when I was transitioning from the juvenile system back to society, um, it's like when I got out, I had like no resources. So I wanted to be able to stay connected with resources in order to continue going down the right path. So I got introduced to Mr. Gourier while I was in juvenile at Hope Academy. So I went to Carver High School. That's where Project Stand. That's what Project Stand is at right now. I went to Carver High School and I met with them and they introduced me into YJAC, which is the Youth Just Action Coalition. And they have been helping me like through my journey, like with all my core, they have been helping me through that like every step of the way. And yeah, that's how I got introduced into them, and that what made me wanna be motivated into being having a mentor. Cause like it's nothing like having a mentor.
I'll say what made me want to join Project Stand was initially how like I got introduced to it was when I first got expelled from my school and I came up to Carver from my old school to get enrolled. I met Gourier like just walking in there and just like how he was speaking to me and how like I felt like he truly cares like about you, like no matter if he knows your name or not, like the second he meets you, like that's what showed me and want me to join Project Stand because I felt like I needed something like that in my life because I had a lack of motivation and I didn't know what I was gonna do like in my life. So I feel like that's what really made me want to be a part and join Project Stand.
Yeah, thank you both. I'm hearing a couple different things in there. There's that piece around visibility and just adults and mentoring programs being there and showing up and making themselves known. Because I think about to the time when I was a young person, I'm not that far away from it. But I think about I didn't really remember seeing that many organizations reaching out to me or people saying like, "Hey, join this program." And so that's a large piece of just being there and showing up in different spaces that young people are. And then I really like the point that you made, Marshawn, around how simple it can be of just knowing your name, and how that is something that really can be motivating to get involved with the program because you know the people are going to care about you as a human being. So thank you both for that. So we have our next question, and actually I want to pose this to the audience as well. I'm kind of making the audience reflect a little bit, as well as the panelists. So the next question is, what do you remember feeling when you first joined your mentoring program or when you first met your mentor? So folks in the audience, drop 1 or 2 words or maybe an emoji that represents what you were feeling when you first met your mentor, first got involved in your mentoring program. Awesome. Oh, perfect. Nervous, joy. And as folks are dropping in those reactions, I'll actually turn that question over to Eunice here to talk about what do you remember feeling when you first started your journey?
Yeah, so when I first met my mentor, it was in the school system. I met him at my Crossland High School. He was an art teacher. He wasn't my teacher, at least not when I first met him. So I had him in 9th grade virtually, but we never really connected. And I remember I had an interest in his fraternity. And I would come in the morning and they would all be out there, everybody in his fraternity. And I think one day I just posed a question to him and asked him about his fraternity. And a day later, he told me, hey, stop by my room after, and he gave me a magazine, just gave me some background on his fraternity, what they do, some successful people in it. And after that, he really just kind of took me under his wing. And I think I really felt, I think consistency, right? Like I had a teacher in the school building, and he wasn't my teacher, but he was there for me. I was able to stop by his room. I think I just felt like, wow, like you really don't have to be connected with somebody through something to have that consistency, like parents or having like a reading teacher that you see almost, maybe twice a week, something like that. But, I don't have him as a teacher, but we were able to build that bond. So, I felt really happy. Consistency was there, and I really appreciated him being there on my journey. So, yeah.
That's awesome. I'm seeing a lot of people sort of echoing that excitement in the chat with the reactions, uplifted, excited, but also there's some nerves, nervous, anxious. So again, as we're continuing this conversation, reflect on your own experiences as well, to kind of connect to the panelists. But I'll actually also turn that question over to Rainey. When you were first joining Project Stand, what do you remember feeling when you first joined, and what was coming up for you?
When I first joined Project Stand, it made me feel heard. It made me feel seen. And yeah, like excuse me. Yeah, it made me feel heard and it made me feel seen because like what I was going through, like I was really scared to like open up to people. But like when I was talking to Mr. Gurian, it was like they was asking me like what was going on, and like they was asking like it was from the heart, like they really wanted to help me. But like me being me, like I was too scared to ask for help. You know, I was too scared to ask for help. But like it's like they can tell, like Miss Gray, he could see all the worry like on my face, you know. So yeah, Mr. Gourier, Mr. Cooper, like they real good people, and like they put me in a great position that I'm in right now. And yeah, it made me feel heard. It made me feel seen.
That's great. I love that. And as you could see, maybe with the emojis getting lots of love, I think those are
Thank
two
y'all.
things that we all want to feel. Those are such important feelings to feel heard and to feel seen. So thank you for sharing that.
I got a lot of hearts.
Yeah, look at the hearts coming in, all for you. I love it. I love
Thank
it.
y'all so much.
That's awesome. Awesome. So we'll move on to the next question. And so for this one, I'll actually direct it first over to you, Samuel. If you could share a little bit about a specific mentor in your life, and again, kind of talk about who they were, how you met them, and then sort of why did they become your mentor? Sort of how Rainey was just sharing, how those folks became her mentor.
Yeah, of course. So with my organization, the Maryland Youth Advisory Council, we are a informal mentoring program. We're not directly focused on providing mentor-mentee relationships, though with my tenure on the council, a mentor-mentee relationship definitely did blossom. So the biggest mentor in my life would be Miss Christina. She was and is the adult advisor to the Maryland Youth Advisory Council. And she became my mentor by chance, as she would support me when I attended conferences or other events on behalf of the council. She was always a person to be very thoughtful about things that I wouldn't necessarily think of. For example, coordinating rides for people. And frankly, this shows that mentoring relationships can really blossom by chance and informally. You know, I don't have to join this organization with this desire to have a mentor, to have a mentor. And you never know when you might meet your next mentor or even the next person that you're going to mentor.
That's great. I think that's a great point, especially around you don't have to necessarily join a program to find a mentor. I like that you're really highlighting the broad ways that people can make those connections. Raquel in the chat, I love that comment. Don't forget to give yourself the credit as well. They supported and helped you, but you did it. I think that's such a huge thing to really center of mentors are important, they're essential, and also all of the young people in this room, other young people in the world, they actually are the ones doing the work, waking up each day, going to the mentoring meetings, going to school, doing their jobs, whatever it is. So I appreciate you uplifting that. Awesome. What about you, Nasir? Could you share about a mentor in your life in kind of same way, who they were, how you met them, etc.?
Yeah, I'll actually say somebody who's works in Mentor, Maryland, DC. His name's Mr. Dayon Johnson. And I was attended a conference last year around, I think, June, and he was one of the panelists for, it was a men's talk, if I'm not mistaken, for CYA. And a couple months later, he was putting together a board of students to lead this grant that was coming to Prince George's County. And kind of like Samuel said, it wasn't set up as a formal mentor-mentee relationship, but after having those board meetings, and then he invited us out to, where I met Samuel at, a soccer game. And I think after that, like, I think that relationship really got to build from there. Him supporting us, me being able to call him and ask him any questions I have, him even opening doors for us, putting us in rooms, giving us opportunities. Mr. Johnson was also the person. I've never been to a gala before. And I'm sure many of my peers haven't either. And he invited me to my first gala. He had us in the front. It was a really great experience. So I think him just opening those doors for us, opportunities, conversations, and dialogue, I think I really appreciated that. So that's another mentor in my life that I value a lot, but it didn't come through, more of a formal situation.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Yeah, shout out to Dayon. Dayon's actually the reason how Nasir, Samuel, and I all got connected. Samuel and I had met before at the plug for the National Mentoring Summit. More information to come on that soon for 2025. But Dayon's awesome. So I'm excited to hear and glad to hear about his impact in your life. Before we sort of move on and transition now into the during part of our conversation, I want to invite anybody, any of our panelists, to share any other initial thoughts around either what motivated you to become involved in mentoring, any feelings that were coming up for you when you were first starting, or about a mentor. So yeah, inviting anybody who maybe didn't get a chance to answer any of those questions. Feeling good? Awesome. All right, cool. So we can move on to our next question. And actually, this will be one for everybody, because I'm sure, especially a lot of the mentoring practitioners, the people who are making matches in mentoring programs, people who maybe want to be mentors or and haven't been before. I'm going to direct it to everybody because this is a really good one. What makes someone a good mentor? So for those people that you were all sharing who had impacts in your life, what made you want to open up to them about things that are personal to you? And so we'll kick it off first with Marshawn, and then we'll go from there.
I would say what would make somebody a good mentor is that they have like really, really good listening skills and is open-minded and have good relationship building skills. And the reason why I say that is because, like, when you're working with somebody who is younger than you, you have to have an open mind because y'all are looking from two different perspectives. And I feel like that, a lot of adults and youth, their perspectives crash because they're not like they. Some adults don't come with the open mind, or like even with the relationship building. Like, you have to have a good relationship with your mentee for you to be the mentor, to get to know them more, or even like just hear them out, or like for them to tell you what they're going through.
Yeah, that's a great point. I had a really interesting conversation with someone a few months ago where we were talking sort of about, generationally speaking, how things have sort of changed with young people. And I think before meeting decades ago, young people were sort of expected to immediately view adults as authority figures or as important or whatever. And now in this generation, you have to earn that respect from young people. You have to be, exactly as you're saying, you have to be open-minded. You have to listen to the young person for them to gain that respect. It's not something that's just inherent as it maybe was decades ago, and how that sort of, like, maybe before a title, like either if it's a mentor title or if it's at a job as a manager, whatever, that doesn't mean as much to young people today as how do you interact with me? How do you build a relationship? How open-minded are you? So I love that point. We'll actually kick it over to Trikaria, if you want to share again what makes someone a good mentor and what made you want to open up to them about the things that were going on for you.
Well, it's basically like what Marshawn said. Like, you gotta have like great listening skills, and like, and and YJAC we do an intercore. I'm in two different groups and bridges. And in intercore we do youth and adult equity training. So adult, like the adults, like they sometimes they tend to be adultish because they think they know more than us because of our age. And one thing we say is don't compare our knowledge to our age. So when you're a mentor, you gotta be able to put yourself inside your your mentee shoes, in order to feel like where they coming from, and see like why they did what they did, and be able to express to them, like you there for them, like you there for them without trying to be like, adultist, just be there. Just be like, some people be afraid to open up to their mom and dad or whatever. And they prefer to come to somebody else and they feel safe talking to you. Just be there and be a great listener, Just be there for them. Cause that's all I needed was somebody to be there for me and somebody to hear me.
Yeah. Thank you for that. And honestly, get that on a t-shirt, trademark that, and the don't compare our knowledge to our age. That's going in my LinkedIn bio. That's going in my email signature. That phrase. I love that. That's such a good one. Awesome. So now I'll move over to Nasir, if you want to share again, what makes someone a good mentor?
Yeah, I think first starting off with maybe detaching the title for a minute and allowing that mentor to really understand, like, hey, I'm a person, and be yourself first. Yes, there's trainings you can go through and learn how to really be a mentor, and some skills that you need to apply when being a mentor. But I think being yourself is the first thing, so that you can be relatable. You're not sounding like a robot, and that, young people can feel like they can open up to you. So first, just being yourself, and not always looking at it through a lens of being a mentor, but sometimes just being yourself. If I'm a mentor, just sometimes oppose taking off the mentor lens and thinking from Nasir, how can I help this young person, or how can I be relatable to this young person? And then I think also pulling from their own experiences. Being a good listener, that's one of the top skills you need. But I think also opening up yourself as a mentor, telling stories, being vulnerable also, so that that young person can feel like, hey, I relate to this person, or they're being vulnerable too, so maybe I can be vulnerable too. So I think being able to just be relatable, open up, and just being yourself throughout the duration of you being a mentor.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, that reminds me actually of a comment that we got in the chat from Shatoya. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. Be there as human to human. I think that that's a great way to also put it, of just drop all the labels, drop all the expectations, and just be a human being, be yourself. Thanks for that, Sierra. Awesome. And Samuel, again, for you, what makes someone a good mentor?
Yeah, of course. Thank you. So to speak more broadly about mentor-mentee relationships, patience is key. You're not going to be their mentor right away. And it's frankly frustrating, but it's true that many youth in this country don't have a mentor right now. So engaging in a mentor-mentee relationship is a little terrifying for them. If someone comes up to you and they're like, hey, I want to be your best friend and skip into the sunset, I wouldn't want to do that right away. I would want to get to know them, build some sort of personal rapport before I actually call them my mentor. But I'd also love to speak more specifically about my relationship with Miss Christina. There were two key different sides to it, which made her a great mentor. First of all, she was incredibly knowledgeable about the project and the program we were involved in. She had all this knowledge about how the legislative process works in Maryland, previous actions of the council, and life stories of lawmakers. It was really her who helped me figure out which lawmakers were the best to approach when I was trying to build support for a specific bill. But then there's also this personal side of it as well. Because Miss Christina was only about 15 years older than I am, it gave me someone I could look to see where I could be given my interest in policy in like 15 years' time. And this made me feel closer to her. And so I think that really like a small age gap in a mentor-mentee relationship gives you someone you could look up to for 5, 10, 15 years' time. It's also important to note that the technical and the personal aspects of a relationship really intersected. So developing trust between myself and Miss Christina made the council function more effectively but then also this efficient relationship of, oh, we're doing great things right now, this is awesome, brought us closer together.
So glad to hear that. That's awesome. I hope you guys in the chat, this is a free webinar, but we're getting some gems. Again, the part that you opened with Samuel with you're not going to be a mentor right away. I think that, and the patience piece, I think that that is just so huge. I tell that to the mentors that I work with outside of mentor organization. A lot of them come into this and they're like, oh, it's a little awkward. I don't feel like I'm actually having an impact. And it's like they've met the young person once or twice. And I'm like, that's just not how human beings work. You don't immediately connect with someone in the way that you have these really profound, meaningful, deep conversations. The smaller conversations of how's your day? How's your homework going? Or what do you like to do? What TV shows do you watch? All of those things also build up that relationship. So I think that patience thing is really key. So thank you for that. Well, actually, I think you all kind of answered this next question that I was going to ask, but I invite anybody in the audience to answer this as we go into the next question. What advice would you give to someone who is new to being a mentor? So everybody in the audience, now that you all either have been in the mentoring field for, if it was that 0 to 4 years or that 20+ years, what advice would you give to someone who wants to be a mentor? Feel free to drop a couple comments or words in the chat for that. But as we move into the next question, I'll actually direct this one to Marshawn. And so, Marshawn, can you tell us about a challenge that's come up for you during your mentoring journey? And then how did you navigate that challenge?
I would say I was facing a challenge with, I'd say like with us, like my family, and like my mentor Gourier, like it was a problem, man. Like at the drop of a dime, I called him and like he answered like no matter what, and like he really helped me out. Like he helped me find like not even just find, but like understand like also where they was coming from and how I could do better and like better myself, and so I wouldn't be in that position again. And like that really helped me, and it showed me like that I can like change and do better in my life.
Thank you for that. And I think maybe Samuel, I'll turn it over to you again. What's a challenge that's come up for you during your mentoring journey?
Yeah, of course. So one of my biggest life challenges arose in the middle of my mentoring journey. My father is an infectious disease researcher at the National Institutes of Health, whereas on the other hand, my mother doesn't even think that viruses exist. And so this intractable difference between their worldviews led them to divorce over the pandemic. I was stuck between two radically different viewpoints, and it felt like my entire perspective of the world was being torn apart at the seams. At many times, I was struggling during this divorce. It hurt me to see that my one and only mother, the woman who had birthed and breastfed me, had become entirely unrecognizable. During this time, my mentoring organization, the Maryland Youth Advisory Council, was one of the few places where I felt like I could enjoy myself. All of our meetings were virtual, so it was definitely sort of a struggle, and we went through this shared struggle of difficulty of impacting policy together. And a lot of the positive benefits I had was because of the role I had with my mentor. With Miss Christina and me, we happened to come from similar life experiences as her parents also were divorced. But then also after my mother moved out, Miss Christina became a close female figure I could look up to. And so it's really clear that the single presence of having a mentor was my support during this challenging time. And that mentoring is really the glue that binds together young people during times of trouble.
Well, first, thank you so much for your openness with your story and sharing a little bit about the background to that. I think that's again, as you're all sharing, it's so great to hear about these mentors. And also I really want to continue to highlight, I believe it was Raquel's point again, that it was also you all did that. You all made the change in your life with the support of a mentor. So again, thank you for sharing, both Samuel and Marshawn, about those challenges. Now I'll actually turn it over to Trikeria and Marshawn. I'll actually ask both of you this question around your work with Project Stand, but in what ways has Project Stand let you take the lead? What opportunities have you had to be leaders, try new things, or work on any sorts of projects? And maybe we'll start off with Trikeria to share a little bit about that.
Or Project Stand, like they gave me a chance to take the lead when we just took a trip to DC, and we had a meeting with the school board. We had a meeting with the school board, and I had a chance to get up there. I had a chance to get up there and speak on behalf of Project Stand, and I had a chance to speak on what I went through, and I got a chance to recite one of my poems, and I feel like that was a great opportunity for me. And yeah, and it would never happen if I would never met Project Stand.
Some other things we have done, like to where I was taking leadership in, was the food pantry. Like we have a big food pantry in our community, and we pass out food and to like people that really do need it. And also we helped with what else? We did a lot. Helped out with food pantry. We did, let me see.
We also did college tours.
We did a lot of college tours. I've been to Tennessee State. It's another college in DC that we went to. It's a lot of college tours. They give you a lot of exposure. And I also went on a college tour that the college I'm going to now, Northeast Community College. I went on that college tour to really solidify that I'm going to go, like to make sure I really want to go. And that helped me with that too.
We also been to Mississippi Valley, and I really wanted to answer the question, like the challenges. I really wanted to answer that question, and yeah, like a couple of challenges that I had to face was like really was like telling them like the things like what was going on, like in my core. Like it was hard because like I didn't know how to say it. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know how to say that, I might get locked back up or whatever. Cause like when I was in juvenile on my birthday, I was 15, on my 16th birthday, they tried me as an adult. They tried me as an adult on my 16th birthday. And as I got out, it was hard for me. So it was really hard for me to like process because like I'm only 16. You know what I'm saying? Like it was hard. And like I didn't know how to tell nobody like I had an offer, like it was crazy, too much, And it was crazy. And I didn't know how to tell nobody. And like it was hard for me to explain it, like, cause like I had started getting used to people. I started getting used to people with Project Stand. I started getting used to people at bridges, and like they start becoming family. Like they start becoming like it's my family, and it was hard for me to look at them every day and like knowing I'm going through this in court, and like I might not see them again. Like that was hard for me. Like I used to get asked questions in class like, "Where you see yourself in like 10 years?" And like I didn't know what to say. Like the question, it'll always be stuck. Like it will always be stuck with me because like I didn't have no answer for it because I knew what I was going through. But I always had faith in God.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. I'm glad that you shared a little bit more about that previous question, and thank you for again opening up, sharing a little bit about that emotional process for you. It's so hard for anybody, I think, to be able to express their fears, their anxieties, to know the exact words to use, and so it's so amazing to hear that Project Stand has really become that family support for you, kind of in a similar way that Sammy or you were talking about with your mentor. And I appreciate that. And then I also appreciate that you both, to the point around the opportunities that Project Stand has connected you with really represented a whole array of different things that mentoring programs can do and mentors can do, whether it be the college tours, whether it be the food pantry, speaking opportunities and things like that. Next time, Tricaria, we'll have to get you to read a poem or something. I love that you write poetry. I love to write poetry, and I know that was something for me as a young person that I want to get back into. I used to write a lot of poetry to express my feelings and kind of figure out that. So again, thank you for sharing that process for you of learning how to do that. So awesome. Also, as you can see, the hearts and all the emojis coming in still. And thank you for those who are sharing advice, sharing other thoughts and things in the chat. I love to see that. I've been collecting the questions, so I will make sure to get to those towards the end of today. Our next question, again, I'll sort of share for everybody to answer. Love we'll have to get to that in a second. Thanks for that, Raquel. But we'll answer this next question. How have your mentors helped you to grow personally or professionally? What have you gained through your experience working with your mentors? So we'll start with Nasir. Again, if you want to answer that, how have your mentors helped you to grow personally or professionally, and what have you gained through your experience with maybe Dayon or whoever other mentors you have?
Yeah. Oh man, this is okay. Professional. Okay, I'll give it to my mentor, Mr. Blackwell, who works in Annapolis. He's a chief of staff to a delegate. And I'll say professionally, he has really helped me, put me in places that without him, I probably wouldn't have been able to get there without another mentor. And I think professionally, just giving me the guidance on navigating internships, giving me advice on, hey. This is how you get this internship in Annapolis. Also, here recently, like 2 months ago, he tagged me along to a reception at the governor's house, and I was able to meet Nancy Pelosi, the comptroller, Madam Speaker of the House. So just professionally being able to meet people who I aspire to be, people I look up to, that was super cool too. And I think just giving me the guidance. He's in the career field I want to be in, politics. He's surrounded by it every day. So just giving me the ins and out of it. Some of the spills too. I think that's been super fun too. And then also learning in the process with campaigning, even giving me advice like, hey, I would recommend that you get on a campaign team and help some of these elected officials, get to their office that they desire. And then one day you could also be offered a position by helping them during campaign time. They could offer you a position in their office and things like that. Even with college, giving me recommendations for different schools, routes I could go, maybe going to law school or getting my master's before I go to law school. It's just things like that. Just a bunch of different advice. And then also when I come to him with ideas for like future positions, him just kind of sometime in keeping me grounded too. And making sure that I'm focusing on goals, short-term goals, right? I may have, these positions I want, but he also always tells me, make sure that you're focusing on your academics. You make sure that you're focusing on internships that could come in the next year or two, things like that. So I really appreciate that part.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I really love how this conversation is highlighting all types of mentors and all purposes of mentors. You can have multiple mentors for different reasons. Sometimes they're more maybe emotional or your day-to-day. Sometimes they're career aspirational things. So again, just thank you all for showing all the different ways this can kind of happen. I'll turn it over now to Samuel for the same question. How have your mentors helped you to grow personally and professionally?
Of course. So with the opportunity itself with the Maryland Youth Advisory Council and Miss Christina, my relationship with her allowed me to build soft skills. So, public speaking, confidence, the important life things that, we really all need. And then also I was able to build personal relationships with Miss Christina, with lawmakers and things like that. And then also my mentorship with Miss Christina has helped support me in the transition to post-secondary education. I'm fortunate enough to be studying environmental policy at Stanford, and Miss Christina was one of the people who wrote me a letter of recommendation. I've gained someone that's invested in my success, and that's really valuable.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. And now we'll kick it over to Tricaria for you to share again, how have your mentors or Project Stand, how have either helped you to grow personally or professionally?
Well, Project Stand, they had helped me like grow professionally, cause like I was saying, like I used to get asked questions like, where would I be in 10 years? But now I started doing like college applications. I got a couple recommendations. Got a couple letters from Mr. Gourier Bridges. They sent them like to my judge and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And they helped me because now I feel like there's a chance. Like there's a chance now, and I got a chance that I can finish high school. I'm gonna graduate this year. I got a chance I can finish high school and I can go to college. Like I'll probably attend Lane College for like for like education. Like I want to be a teacher, you know. So yeah, that's how they help me professionally because like I never thought about going to college. I never thought about going to college, but as I got with Project Stand and Bridges, I'm like, I might as well go to college. Like they making it seem fun. Like it's nothing else to do in Memphis. You know what I'm saying? So why not go to school when I already like school? I already like school, so why not go to school to continue my education? That's how they help me professionally. And personally, they helped me be the person that I am today. Even I forgot who commented it. Yeah, it was on me too, because if it weren't for me being consistent and keeping that promise to myself that I made while I was in juvenile, if it weren't for me, and yeah, if it weren't for me, and I wouldn't, what I'm saying, I probably been back in the position that I was in. But like I made a promise to myself and I'm gonna always keep that promise.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing. And Marshawn, how about you? How has either Project Stand or your mentors helped you to grow personally or professionally?
Project Stand helped me grow professionally by giving me a lot of internships and putting me in a lot of internships to help find the career I want to pursue, or just expose me to a lot of new things. And personally, before I joined Project Stand, to be honest, I didn't have no motivation in school, or I didn't want to go to college. I didn't want to go to college at all. And like Project Stand just gave me a lot of motivation and like just to even like do better, do your best in everything you do, or school, or anything like that. Like they really helped me a lot. And they also like helped me like mature and like see things differently how I used to see things, or just even act differently.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, I can definitely relate to both of you with the college aspect of things. I didn't necessarily have a mentor at that age. I guess I would say I more so had peer mentors who were really encouraging college. I knew like everybody says college is the next step after high school, but I wasn't really bought in. I also didn't really know the why. Like, why do I have to go to this 4 more years of school? And so I think a lot of my friends kind of turned to the peer mentors of sort to help me along that process. So definitely relate to that. Thank you both for sharing, especially that piece, and all the other ways that they've helped you to grow. And also you're getting love in the chat as well. So awesome. Awesome. So now we'll move into sort of the last part of our conversation. Now we've talked a little bit throughout the conversation around the impacts that your mentors and your mentoring programs have had on you. But I guess maybe actually we sort of answered that one. So maybe we'll jump to this one because I know we have a lot of questions from the audience that I definitely want to get to. So we'll actually jump to this one. Do you all plan on becoming mentors in the future, or are you already a mentor to someone? We'll start with that piece of the question. So again, I'll turn this to everybody, and we'll start with Nasir.
All right. Yeah, so no, I'm not a mentor to anyone right now as I'm still learning also. But I'm super excited to be a mentor in the future. Like I'm super excited. That's like one of my like goals, that is definitely to be a mentor to somebody and be able to give them the same opportunities and be that, supportive person in their life also. So I'm super excited for that. So yeah, I do plan on being a mentor, and calls like this, I'm super fortunate to be on it because I can take from this, I can learn from this. So I'm super happy I'm able to learn from you all here.
I love that perspective. Thank you. Samuel, what about you? Do you plan on becoming a mentor in the future? Are you already a mentor? What is that looking like for you?
Yeah, well, I'm certainly not someone who's in a formalized mentoring program, but my friends back home who are younger than me and currently serve on the Maryland Youth Advisory Council, or even just a few grades below me in school, they definitely do look up to me as if someone would look up to a mentor. I give them advice about college applications, policy action in Maryland, and about environmental activism more broadly. And frankly, it's important to note that mentorship is really a lifelong journey. No matter how old you are, you could be both a mentor and a mentee. I'm sure that the people here sitting on the panel have at one point or another been someone that a friend or a sister or a brother looked up to at one point or another. And they're going to continue to seek help from other people, even as they grow up. Life is a continual journey and a continual trek towards progress, inner progress. And I'm going to need help. I'm going to have a mentor when I'm 30, 40, 50. And I'm going to continue to do that for the rest of my life. And yes, I strive to have people I look up to, and I hope to live my life in a way in which others will look up to me. And I've just benefited so much from mentorship, and I want to pay it forward.
Yeah, I'm so glad that there's so many points in there that I really appreciate, but especially that one, you can be a mentor and a mentee at any point in your life, no matter what age you are. I'm sure you all already have been, and you just don't know it, or maybe the person hasn't told you, but just hearing your stories and hearing your experiences now, and I think the audience can agree, you're all very, very impressive young people who I'm sure have a whole lot of other younger people looking up to you. So love to hear from now you, Trakiri and Marshawn, again, what are your plans for the future on maybe becoming a mentor, or are you already a mentor to someone? We'll start maybe this time with Marshawn to answer that question, and then Trakiri.
I feel like I might already be a mentor because I have a little sister, and so yeah, I kind of wherever she not have any questions or just want to talk, I'm always there for her, and like I'm always be their ear. And I feel like I might be a mentor. I think everybody needs a mentor, and especially at the age I am right now. I'm 17. I feel like a lot of people that's going through 13 to 18, I feel like you really need a mentor so you can like just feel heard. Cause sometimes, like without a mentor, like I wasn't feeling heard at all. And like you sometimes youth need an adult to talk to, and you don't want to talk to your parents a lot because sometimes it might be conversation, you might not be comfortable to tell them, or they might look at you different. So I feel like I might be a good mentor to listen to my youth, and help them how I was helped.
I feel like I'll be a good mentor. You know what I'm saying? Cause like I got brothers, I got little brothers, and I got little sisters. And as the paces I'm going right now, I want to be the first out of my family to graduate high school and graduate college. So as when I do that, that mean my little sisters and my little brothers and them, they're gonna be looking up to me, so they'll want to finish school just like their big sister. And right now, I'm trying to help my little brother because like he's he's having a rough time right now, and I want him to get the help that I have. I want him to do the things that I did to get help to get where I am today. So if anything, I feel like he's my mentee. I'm his mentor. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah, and I mean, everybody I think is really echoing that idea in the chat of so many of us are mentors without knowing it. And I love this quote from Rosie. Everyone has legacies as well. Our parents and grandparents, the past generations and ancestors want us to succeed. We have been impacted by them, whether we know it or not. And so kind of in that same vein, you all have impacted people in your lives, whether you know it or not. And so thank you for sharing that. And again, you all are, I'm sure, either gonna make amazing mentors, have been amazing mentors. So excited to continue to hear about that. But Now I think I'll kind of split this question in half. And Tricariya, you started talking a little bit about it towards the end. Similarly for everybody, what is something that you would want to share with your mentee? So you could think of it as something that you've learned being a mentee, something that you've learned in your experience with Project Stand or another program that you've been involved in. What's something either to I should say, a real life mentee that you have right now or a mentee that you might have in the future? What is something at this moment that you would want to share with them? And we'll kick it off to Samuel.
I think that I would probably share that getting where I am wasn't easy going. You know, I'm sure that many of my peers look up to me. You know, I live a great life. I'm at Stanford. I'm quote unquote successful or whatever. But you know, there were certainly steps that I had to take to get here that were really truly difficult. Whether it was, you know, my life circumstances I went through, whether it was my hours toiling away on college application essays, or whether it was, I don't know, something else altogether. You know, life is not all roses and perfect, but you know, you have to make the best of it. And if you work hard and put in the effort, you can be successful.
Great, thank you. Absolutely. Now we'll go over to Tricariya. The question again was, what is something that you would want to share with your mentee? Again, it could be any of the siblings or family members that you talked about, or someone just in the future in general. Something that you'd like to share.
Something I would like to share is like, don't give up. Like, I know it might seem hard. You know, I know you might not know these people very much, but just don't give up. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's worth it. It's worth it in the end. The outcome is gonna be better. So one thing I gotta just say is like, stay consistent. Like, if you really want it, you're gonna stay consistent. You know what I'm saying? Just don't give up. Don't look back. Don't let the past affect what you finna do tomorrow, the next day after that. Don't let your past affect it. Always look forward.
That's great. Sometimes it's as simple as that. Just don't give up. I think that's you don't have to overcomplicate things. That's great. I like that. Awesome. Marshawn, what about you? What is a piece of advice or something that you would want to share with a mentee?
I would say it's this. A lot of people might have said this already, but it's not about how you start. It's about how you finish. And I say that because, like, especially with me, I started off very bad in school, like middle school. Like, started off horribly, not doing work, constantly getting suspended. But now I'm finna graduate and go to college and do better in my life. It's always about how you finish and how good you can finish too. That's one thing I would tell to a mentee.
That's great. I love that. Awesome. And Nasir, what's something that you would want to share with a mentee?
Yeah, I would say really just setting up goals for your future, looking into your future, just brainstorming what you may want. If that's a house, car, career, it could even be short term. If you know an internship you want in a couple months, a grade you want to get on your test. I think just in times where you're down, I think looking at your future can really brighten up your day. It can make you happy, or looking at the progress towards your future, just the progress you're doing right now. So if you got a C on a test and you want an A at the end of the semester and now you're at a B, just the progress and looking into the future to your end goal. I think that's really, I think that really helps. I would tell my future mentee, really just look into your future and appreciate it.
That's great. I love that. I'm seeing such a common theme amongst everybody's answers, the importance of consistency, of not giving up, of looking towards the future, continuing with the growth. I think those are all really amazing pieces of advice. Before we get into some questions that we have from the audience, I just want to take a moment for all of our panelists, in case you haven't been seeing all of the love that you have in the chat, just to uplift some of these comments. You are making me smile so much. You are awesome. They're very helpful discussions, great aspiration, all the very best. Each and every one of you is inspiring. Please don't stop what you're doing. You're amazing. Bravo to all of these young people. You all are just what I needed today. So just want to take a moment to really thank you all as we move into these audience questions. And obviously your stories and your insights are really resonating. So for folks in the audience, now we can shift over to that. And so I've been taking notes of the ones that are coming up in the chat, but again, continue to feel free to use the Q&A box to drop any questions in. And let me see what would make most sense to start off with. So I think actually this question was really interesting. Thank you for this from, let me get the name up, Cliff. From Cliff, do you think a person like myself with a background in criminal justice system can be a good mentor also? So maybe I'll turn that one over to Trey Curie and Marshawn to see what thoughts you have around, do you think people who have been in the criminal justice system can also be good mentors?
I would say most definitely it would be good. Because I feel like you already have the insight through what a lot of youth is going through right now, and you already know like different ways you can actually help them and help them do better in that particular part of their life. So I feel like being in that part, it'll be good.
Shakiri, any other thoughts around that question of any thoughts around people being a part of the criminal justice system also being mentors?
Me personally, I feel like people who personally experience the juvenile system firsthand will be like great mentors, you know, because like especially if your mentee is transforming from a juvenile system, like from the juvenile, they'll be great because like they went through almost the same things in their life, you know, and like they can connect to each other. So I feel like a person like either you working inside the jails or you was in there, like either way it go, like you would be like a great fit. Like it don't matter if you got like locked up before, it really doesn't matter. As long as when you get out, you'll be better than the person they put inside the jail.
I love that.
Yeah, you if you have a charge and you went through juvenile, you'll be a great mentor.
Yeah, I think that especially that last piece really connects to what Marshawn was saying. It doesn't matter how you started, it matters how you end. And exactly to your point there, Shakiria, around just being continuing to try to be a better person. And yeah, I remember
Yeah,
us all talking about that in one of the planning calls of how important it is to have mentors that have similar lived experiences, because they just get it. They get it in a way that someone who doesn't have a similar life experience will never, even if they're trying really hard, they just won't understand that specific experience. So
yeah, I was wondering, probably like at the end of the Q&A, like would I be able to recite one of my poems?
yes. Oh my God. Absolutely. Oh, I'm so excited. This is so, yeah, absolutely. So we'll answer a couple more questions and then we'll make some time for that in about 10 minutes or so.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you guys, you're getting an exclusive right now. This is amazing. Awesome. All right. So let me see what other questions we have. So let's start. Samuel, I think this one might be a good question for you since you already started talking about I guess the intersection between your mentoring relationships and your family. Could you speak a little bit more to how has your mentoring experience changed or impacted your relationships at home?
I think that really my mentoring relationships didn't change my relationship at home. It more was sort of a safe space for me to escape from my mentoring relationships at home. You know, I'm sure that for people on this panel or even other mentees, relationships with a mentor really could help them improve at-home relationships, whether it's a space to process something that your parents said, or whether it's, you know, someone you can go to vent about problems at home, just make you feel a little more calm at home. But for me, I don't think that was really the case.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I think that's a great point of having just another adult figure in your life outside of the home and how important that is. Marshawn, I know you also sort of talked about that. I'm wondering if you had any thoughts around that question of how has your mentoring experiences changed or impacted your relationships at home?
I say it helped me like I said before, like understand where they're coming from as an adult and like how they may act or they may respond to what I say or how I might act. So I feel like my mentor has helped me like just get a better understanding or like you know just basically get a better understanding like what can happen or like what's going on and certain type of situations or how to I can help myself like not necessarily like get in trouble or anything.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think mentoring can be so useful because it provides another perspective. Because when we're in our families, I think for anybody, there's so many different dynamics, there's so many tensions, there's so many different experiences or relationships that we have with our family members. So it's hard to kind of like look at it from an outside view, and a mentor can really help be that person of provide another perspective and yeah, just be there for you to process. So yeah, thank you for answering that one. I'm seeing some questions that I actually think will be better. I'll send some resources along with the recording around the starting your mentoring program and training and making successful matches and things like that. We have some resources at Mentor that I'll send some of those along with the resources after the webinar. Just want to make sure that people know that those will be addressed. I think this is also a good one. It sort of echoes the beginning of our conversation. For anybody who wants to answer this one, what initially helped with buy-in? So in another way, like, were your peers a part of the mentoring program? Did your peers have a mentor? Other youth that you know, had they been a part of a mentoring relationship, or was it just adults in your life encouraging you to try either getting involved in a program? So what was that spark? What made you want to get involved with whatever it is? And I remember Trakiri, you were talking a little bit about how your mentor was just, or it was, they just were there and they shared a little bit about the program. But yeah, any other insights for folks? What was that thing that got you excited about getting involved in a mentoring program?
What had me excited to get involved with Project Stand, I was seeing the amount of care they had for the students that was in Project Stand, and I was also seeing the amount of opportunities they was given. Um, we are given like a lot of opportunities to earn money and earn relationships and network with other people that can help us in our futures. So that's really the main reason why I joined Project Stand was to like do better, earn money, and like build network and better my futures.
That's a great answer. I think if anybody's out there listening and you want and are able to, I would really encourage incentivizing, or if you're having a young person work on something, if they're doing some sort of project, pay young people to do the work that you're asking them to do. So many times we as programs don't do that, and sometimes it's because there's just no funding, but I would really encourage that, because young people deserve to be paid for their time, their efforts, and their energy. So I think that's a really great point that you made. Any other thoughts from folks around what was that initial spark that helped you buy into the idea of mentoring, from anybody?
I'd love to share about this. So for me, my involvement with the Maryland Youth Advisory Council wasn't actually about mentoring. What happened was my friend James, who went to elementary school with me, but we stayed in touch after that, was a member on the council. And I heard about it through word of mouth. And I was really interested in pursuing my passions of policy and advocacy. And this happened during the pandemic. I was stuck at home. And so I saw MIAC, the Maryland Youth Advisory Council, as a professional and a social opportunity, as James would also be on the council in his second year. And so it really helped that I would have had a friend that would be on the council with me.
Yeah, I think that's one of the best forms of recruitment. Make your program a program that young people tell each other about, that are like, you should get involved in this, or you should get involved in this council, or you should get involved with this organization. If your mentees and your young people are doing that, I think that's a really good sign. Okay, great. So I do want to save time for Trakiri's poem and some additional resources, but I want to open up to all of our panelists. If there are any questions that you didn't answer today, or any other thoughts or things that you would like to add, feel free to unmute and do so now. So again, any other thoughts or things that you would like to share with the audience?
I just want to add in that I'll say this: any teacher who stays after school with you, after class with you, or just answers any questions that may not involve, the coursework that they are teaching. I think that's a form of an informal mentor. And I just want to give a shout out to Ms. Brooks, because she's here right now. And, I may not call her, formally my mentor, but she has definitely mentored me. And went out her way many of times to just give me wisdom, support me in everything I do. So I just really want to say that, teachers are one of the legs to mentoring, and just being there for students in the school system. I think that's really important. So I just want to add that in there.
I love that. Yeah, shout out. Yeah, shout out to all teachers, all of the teachers out there. So important. We appreciate you. Thank you for doing what you do. Any other thoughts or things to add?
Yeah, I'd love to just say thank you so much for coming today. It's really great that there are mentors out there who want to work on being better supports to young people in this world. And by being here today and engaging with us, it really is invaluable to you. I'm sure that you have Jake's email address and a way to connect with him after if you have any questions. But I want to go ahead and drop my LinkedIn in the chat for everyone here. So if you have any questions for me that you didn't get to about the Maryland Youth Advisory Council or my experience with mentoring, I'd love to connect with you afterwards.
Thank you for that. All right, so Trakiri, how are you feeling? Are you ready to share your poem now? Do you want me to share resources first? Are you ready? How are you feeling?
I'm ready.
Awesome. All right, well, the floor is yours.
Okay, my poem is called Society. When I got locked up in juvenile, it made me see life different. Mama's crying, bullets flying, and a whole lot of black kids are dying. Everybody got beef. Everybody want to be street until they get hit with the heat. When are y'all gonna open your eyes? When are y'all gonna look at society? It's like they setting us up to fail, paying $1 million for these multi-billion-dollar jails. 1,000 kids are in foster home, and 1,000 kids are feeling alone. Some people take their life for granted until it's gone. You gonna see who really your friend when you in jail and someone ain't gonna pick up the phone. You say you're gonna die for your gang members, but is they gonna die for you? You came in this world alone, you're gonna die alone. Don't judge me. I'm just telling the truth. What the jail not change, best believe you can change too. Seeing life for its true colors, best believe you can see it too. We all sisters and brothers. We all the same crew. That's it.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. That was such an amazing way to close out and to wrap up this really amazing and beautiful conversation. Look at all of the hearts, the claps. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Someone says they have chicken skin. I call it goosebumps. I love it. Same. Thank you again. I really appreciate that you shared that with us, and that was really beautiful. So thank you. I think poetry and writing and art is such an important thing for us all to do in some way. So
you're welcome. Thank you all in the comment sections. Thank you all for all the love.
Thank you.
awesome. All right. So before we officially close out, I just have a couple more resources to share with everybody here, just to stay connected with us. So we got through questions. Let me skip over to the next one. So additional resources. Feel free to email us with any questions or things like that. Feedback at collaborative-webinar-series@mentoring.org. Mentor has, I should know the exact number. It's over 20, I think 24 affiliates across the country who can help you more at a local level with training, resources, public awareness, and advocacy. I know I saw Rosie in the chat. If you're still here today with Mass Mentoring, shout out to Mass Mentoring. We also have the Mentoring Connector, where you upload your mentoring program and recruit mentors and mentees to your program by using that on our website. And then there's also the National Mentoring Resource Center, where especially for some folks who are asking for resources and trainings, that's definitely where you can go to access evidence-based mentoring resources and apply for no-cost training and technical assistance. There will be an anonymous survey that we just ask you to submit. It'll take about 3 to 4 minutes. And just again, let us know how we did, what we can improve on, what you would like to see in the future. And again, this says in a few days, but it's really in a week. You'll receive an email with all of the slides, recording, resources, etc. And please join us next month. It'll be part 2 of our grassroots mentoring series. So it'll teach you a little bit more about building your program from the ground up if you're at the beginning phases. But really, I just want to stop sharing and take one more moment to just express a huge thank you, a huge moment of gratitude to our panelists. You all were absolutely amazing. The resource, the insights, the experiences, the stories. I just really want to take a second to honor all of your preparation for this and also your expertise, your vulnerability, your willingness to share your experiences. As you can see in the chat, there's power in your voice. You should be so proud of yourself. Glad to have been here today. It was amazing, fantastic. So again, just thank you to our panelists. Thank you to everybody in the audience for joining us today. And we'll see you next time. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.